imprese guidate da donne, giusto per dare qualche dato, rappresentano il 22% del totale.
Fare impresa è funzionale alla tua vocazione e alla tua missione. Crei un'impresa o usi la tua impresa per risolvere il problema che tu hai a cuore.
Credo che arrivi un momento in cui ti scatta quella scintilla, no? Quel desiderio di mettere in gioco tutto te stesso e scoprire anche delle cose che magari non pensavi di saper fare.
Sono stata aiutata a cambiare la visuale da cosa volessi fare a chi volessi essere come persona, come manager, quindi anche come volessi interpretare il ruolo, lo stile di leadership volessi adottare.
E soprattutto alle prossime generazioni, la generazione Z e la generazione Alpha, che mettono al loro centro questa storia di impatto e anche purpose.
Non è che domani dobbiamo svegliarci tutti imprenditori, tutti freelance, però domani dobbiamo svegliarci tutti felici. Più siamo felici, più siamo produttivi. Più siamo produttivi, meglio lavoriamo, più siamo apprezzati e quindi più riusciremo a essere felici.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our English talk tonight, powered by our main sponsor, Eni, that we take the opportunity to thank again for the support for our initiatives. Today, we talk about the diversity and inclusion as usual, but in particular, we're going to see the different approaches between junior people and senior people, which is a very interesting topic because, as you know, at the moment, any workplace is looking at getting young people and more senior people to actually cooperate and create a virtuous approach to the day-to-day work, as well as becoming active part in both sides of any project. So the first speaker that I'm going to invite here on our virtual stage is Marika Calabrese, CEO of Eni Rovuma Basin. Hi, Marika, welcome.
Hi, everybody. Good evening.
So first of all, would you like to describe a little bit more about you and your career and the pivotal moments in your life journey that have contributed to your current personal and professional development, please?
Thank you very much for your question. I'm an engineer as a background, so I started in a very technical department. I always worked for Eni, and I developed my career in the roles of increasing responsibilities through time, both in Eni headquarters in Milano, but also abroad, namely in Norway and in Maputo here in Mozambique currently. Your question is actually very interesting, and I can think about two moments of pivotal interest for the diversity regarding age. The first moment is when, for the first time, I was offered a position of responsibility. At that time, I was in Norway. I always had a very technical role. I was a reservoir engineer. And there was this the project manager of a given project that at some point, he trusted me. He already worked in the past with me, and he offered me the position as reservoir manager. I was very impressed by the offer. And the first reply I gave him was, look, you're making the wrong choice. I'm too young to cover this position. I cannot do that. And I still remember today, like it was yesterday, the answer he gave me, and I've never forget it, because he told me, just because of this answer, I know you are the right person, because I know that whenever you will have a problem, you will look for help, because you don't trust yourself too much. I mean, you're not too much self-confident. And the answer really impressed me. At the end, just to tell you the end of the story, I took over the position. It was a brilliant experience, and really enjoyed my time, and it was a very learning experience to me. The second pivotal moment was when, in the recent past, I was coordinating the professional family. And so I had people coming to my office asking for opportunities to grow up or just to talk about their career path. And it often happened to me that some people came maybe too young, and they told me, look, I believe I've gained enough experience, so I want a role of more responsibility. And my reply in some cases was, look, you still miss some pieces, some steps before you can cover that position. In some cases, the person in front of me believed me. Some other cases, they argued that that was not the case. The most rewarding fact was that in several cases, the people came back 2 years after maybe, and they told me, you know, you were right that day when you told me that I still had to do some additional steps. Thank you for your advice. And now that I am having this responsibility role, I appreciate that you actually were right. And that was rewarding in a way.
Absolutely. So having also, let's say, the good manager, the good colleagues, the good team around you is definitely key to boost your confidence and allowing you to achieve what you yourself maybe you thought I cannot achieve it.
Indeed, of course, yes.
Great. So for the next question, today is going to be actually our 1-to-2 interview. I normally run these interviews 1-to-1, but today we have another colleague of Marika, who is Hannah Faili, reservoir engineer at Eni. Hi, Hannah.
Nice
Welcome.
to meet you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming. So you are following kind of the same path that Marika embarked on, working on the same area where she started. Can you share any biases you came across or perhaps even played a role in your career development?
Yeah, sure. But I hope I'm following the same path as Marika. That would be a great honor for me. Well, I will tell you a story like about biases I had towards other people. When I started in the company, I had a chance to work with a person with nearly 15 years of experience. A very smart and organized person. But when I first met him, I expected him to excel only in his area of expertise. So I expected him to be very good in the stuff that he has been doing for the last 15 years. However, I was surprisingly shocked by his programming skills and actually inspired. So that exceeded my initial expectations. And similarly, I had another bias, but on the opposite side. I started working with another team, and I had a supervisor who seemed considerably young. So at first, I was a little bit afraid that I'm not gonna get so much opportunities and I'm not gonna learn that much from that person. However, over time, which was actually a very short amount of time, I proved myself wrong. And I realized that I shouldn't let such judgments, let such ideas and biases cloud my judgment.
All right. Now, I'm going back to Marika, and then obviously is an open conversation. Today, as we said at the beginning, we want to kind of deep dive into the complex intergenerational relationship in the workplace. So, Marika, based on your experience, what advice would you give to someone trying to manage that? A situation that is complex because there are junior people, more senior people having to work together on a project or on a team. What are for you the key things that need to be done to avoid conflicts or to solve some conflicts in case they arise?
I think the answer to your question is awareness. Awareness that you might run the risk to have your own bias for at the beginning. So maybe it's yourself having the bias, not the person in front of you. And if you are aware of this, that this risk is actually occurring, then you may listen to others in a different way. Another suggestion I may give is that sometimes we have let me call it the bias of the bias. Remember, I told you when the young people comes and I want to get responsibility, and you tell him, "You're young, you cannot do that," and the person doesn't actually listen to you. He just thinks, "Okay, he has got a bias towards me." Maybe that's not the case. And so the bias of the bias. Sorry for this playing with the words, but it's actually even more risky than the bias itself, because that stops the listening part of a conversation and just block you in a position without putting yourself in a more, questioning mood, I would say.
Absolutely. And Hannah, do you want to add anything to that? What do you think?
I totally agree with Marika. Yeah, I totally agree with what Marika said. Basically, it's very important to understand why the other person communicated a certain message. Try to analyze the reason behind it before assuming any argument or before taking any position.
Absolutely. And as a junior, Hannah, what are the most common biases you feel you have encountered throughout your career, and how did you overcome this typical sense of inadequacy that came with not having enough experience? How did you manage to actually move forward with your career and have a good relationship with your managers and colleagues?
And to be
Just
honest,
some examples to our audience.
Yeah, to be honest, when I first joined the company, I was given few tasks and few responsibilities, but I wasn't bothered by it that much because I thought that I had to learn. Anyway, a few years later, a colleague of mine told me that at first sight, when she first met me, she thought I knew less because I'm young. And if you get to know me in person, I'm not only young, but I also look younger than I really am. So I also look younger than my actual age. So she thought that I knew less because of my age and because of my, let's say, my looks. So she told me, however, that as she got to know me better, she understood that I'm more than what she thought. And without knowing it, I proved her wrong with my capabilities, with the way I took over responsibility and the way I contributed to the work with my dedication. So I think that hard work, as usual, like hard work and the desire to take on more responsibilities is the way to show that age is not a limit.
I mean,
and that's
definitely.
how I move on every day.
Yeah, so from what you both said, let's say confidence and not listening to self-bias or self-limiting, let's say, beliefs is kind of key to move forward. I think this is something most of our community has experienced. We have touched that in other talks as well. I think it's very important to always work on yourself when you are into a career path, whether you are young or less young. I think it doesn't really matter to me the way I see it, because it's always key to believe in yourself, be confident, and kind of know what you want to achieve, and not listening to all these self-thoughts that are just limiting. But definitely, as you also mentioned, you both also mentioned, you also need managers and people and an environment that is supporting this type of attitude. Okay, so we got to the stage where we are inviting other two amazing speakers who are Fabiana Leal, career growth designer and founder of CL4IR, and Roberta Fiorino, PhD student.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, both.
Okay, so just to break the ice a little bit, welcome to our talk today. Considering what the other speakers have been saying so far, what do you think are the key challenges that junior and senior are facing nowadays within the workplace?
I will let Fabiana go first if you want.
Okay, hello, good evening, everyone. Sorry, I couldn't hear anything. I was trying to hear you. I didn't hear you. Sorry, Ele.
Okay, so anyone else wants to?
I can say something. So I am a researcher. I'm a PhD student, so I'm at the very beginning of my career. And one of the first challenges I was facing a couple of years ago when I had to choose to which school I wanted to apply, I wanted to shoot high. So I wanted to work in a very prestigious institution. So that's why I decided to apply to just two schools that were very prestigious, one in Europe and one here in the US. And a lot of people, while I was deciding, were like, oh, this is very risky because you won't get it at first chance. It's going to be very hard, and the selection is very hard, and the competition is high. So you should apply to 20 schools and just be careful with your choices and don't dream too much. And if I would have listened to that, maybe at this time I wouldn't be here. So you have to be confident with yourself. Even though it's the very beginning, it's very important that you do whatever you want to do and don't listen to bad advices, but still be conscious about your curriculum, for example.
So showing your competence and being, let's say, very, very much secure, sure of what you can achieve, what you know, which is not necessarily linked to how many years of experience you have, is actually becoming more and more a key thing. One question that I wanted to ask, actually, considering that obviously we are saying amazing things here, but we can't ignore that there are plenty of conversations at the moment happening in any company. I think whether the company is small or it is big, we work with plenty of companies, and there are biases, and sometimes it is difficult for senior people and junior people to coexist in a way, let's say, in a different way of looking at things, of a different way of approaching things, and a different way of considering, for example, long-term or short-term goals, balance between workplace and private life. There are plenty of conversations out there. What I would like to, let's say, achieve from this conversation is what are your thoughts based on your experience on all these conversations, and how we can tackle this kind of intergenerational conversation, sometimes a bit heated and not always fluid and positive, as you're saying, because we need to be also honest. And how can we help with this training that we're doing today for people who are listening? How can we help these people who are living these challenges to overcome those? This is a question for the whole table.
Okay, maybe I can give my contribution here. Sorry, I couldn't listen before, but now the audio is back. Sorry about that. I'm Fabiana Leal. So I'm actually a career coach. I work with 40 plus people usually. So what I see almost, let's say, every day here at Claire is that people are somehow having difficulties on how to expose themselves, how to sell themselves. So I'm talking about people that are not only looking for job opportunities, but also those ones that are already employed, So sometimes they feel that they're, let's say, like menaces, if it is related to someone that it's, let's say, younger and just coming with fresh ideas, with different things, want to do differently. And then sometimes people that are more senior experience a little bit of lack of confidence, as you were saying, right? So I see the two sides. I hear people saying, "Oh, I'm too young for this work," as Hannah was saying, that she was, let's say, stereotyped when she started her career. And I hear people saying, maybe I'm too old to move up, to level up my career, And I think the focus there should be on collaboration instead of comparison. At least this is how I would tackle, this challenge. I think that focusing on collaboration between generations is, let's say, much more effective than comparing yourself to others all the time.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Roberta.
Collaboration and listening, I would say, is very important. Marika, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I would like to jump in because I was very interesting what Roberta was saying, and I think that to solve conflicts, you have to work when you don't have conflicts as such. Actually, for example, you have to build trust among the people. Anna was giving a very nice example when the person that she was working with, she had biases, but in the day-by-day life, she understood that she could actually trust Anna. And this is crucial because if trust, you build a relationship between people where you can actually then listen to each other. Even when you are in a conflict, you have a different opinion, but still you're the person that you have in front of you, and this can increase in a way your ability to listen. Feedbacks are very important in this process because if you give feedbacks, positive and negative one, the person in front of you will know that when you give the negative, since he has also received some positive one, he knows that he can trust. And it's a mutual relationship where you can share opinion, and this will again activate the listening mode.
Yes, I want also to add something. Especially in my field, age is the first bias. So I work with people that have more experience than me and that they are way younger than me. And I work with people that are older than me and they have less experience than me. So age is the first bias. And as a suggestion, personally, I would say if you don't feel confident to talk about a social life problem that is not work related, and you don't feel confident to talk about this with your boss, you can talk with someone that has more experience or has worked for a longer time with your boss, and trying to talk to these people as an intermediary and then find a solution. Because I think it's also very important that your co-workers know that you are facing something that is hard for you, and maybe your performances are different than before, for example. So that's also very important.
Absolutely. I think so. Listening, I always try to get the key things that you are saying with your contributions. So I think listening is very important, as well as feedback. I think the feedback is a complicated topic because, again, for example, I live in London. In the UK, the feedback is given in a specific way, which is very different from how you would give a feedback in Italy, or how would you receive a feedback in Italy and how you would react. So again, it's a difficult, let's say it's a difficult topic, but at the same time, it's a key topic because without feedback, I always say, whether it's given in a nice way or not in a nice way, or more direct or less direct, there can be different styles, but the feedback becomes key for the other person to really understand where is, doing something wrong, or even doing something well, or where can improve, or how that person can actually grow. Because without feedback, we don't really grow, if you think about it. Otherwise, you always think, okay, we tend to think we are always right, or there is just our way. But I think things are changing now, and there is much more, let's say, soft skills become much more important, and people really need to know how to deliver feedback, how to receive a feedback, and also how to not feel that feedback as a failure, but as a thing to improve your performance, to improve your career, to improve yourself at the end of the day. But obviously it's not easy. It seems easy now talking, but when it happens on the day by day, is complicated, but definitely very valuable.
Yeah. I've had the same feeling when I came here in the US and they used to talk to the boss using their name. For example, in Italy, we use the professor. I never talked to my professor using his name. While here it's very common, so also the cultural bias can be a factor for these kind of relationships.
If I can add here just a very quick personal experience. I once at my corporate career, I went to work for a fintech in Brazil, and my senior manager was 26. I was 36, I think. Yeah, 35, 36, more or less. So we have like 10, 11 years of difference. But till today, I think that was, let's say, the most transparent relationship I had with a boss in my life, in my career, because he fully trusted me. I think Marika talked about trust. He knew that I was more senior than him. So, and I knew that he really needed me anyway. So it was like a symbiotic, relationship. It was really, really interesting.
Absolutely. Hannah, we lost you for a second. Do you want to add anything?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. Well, I'm sorry, I'm losing my connection quite often. Yeah, I totally agree with everything that you said. The most important thing, in my opinion, is not to fix some pillars in our minds and be very, let's say, convinced about some ideas. So instead of looking at the person and instead of seeing the age of that person, maybe it's better to focus on the ideas and on the content that that person is sharing and that person is giving and contributing. In fact, this year we have a lot of younger people that are younger than me that have joined the company, and it's actually nice to see how many fresh ideas they have, and how much energy they have. Even though I've been in the company for only 5 years, but I can feel the difference, no? So on one side, that's one thing. On the other side, the other thing that I think Roberta said before, the fact that you say, no, I'm too old for that. I'm sorry, no, Fabiana, I think she said it. I'm too old for that, or I'm too young for that other thing. Personally, I prefer to look at the energy that I have at that moment, not the age. So yeah, I have so much energy for this. I want to do it, or no, I don't have the energy for it, even though I'm not 30 yet. So I don't have the energy for it. I'm not going to put my effort into it. That's it.
Actually, this is a very nice message, Hannah, because what I constantly hear is, how new generations, have a different way here and there. It's difficult to get them do certain things in the way we would, whether you are highlighting their energy, their passion, their fresh ideas, which I think is the most important thing. Going back to the conversations we were having before, don't look at the age, don't look at the date of birth, but look at the person, the talent also that this person can have, because this is also another thing. We need to be able to grab the talent from everyone, regardless their background, cultural background, sex, age. This is probably the best goal that we could achieve, to have amazing workplace environments. Right. So Fabiana, what are, in your opinion, some common misconceptions or pitfalls that international women encounter when trying to advance their career, and how can they overcome them based on your experience?
Yeah, okay, that's a very good question. Very good. I see three main, let's say, pitfalls, and international women here are the people that are moving around, just leaving their countries and to live in a different country, to work or to follow partners, So I see three of them. So first of all, it's not enough education. So, I need another certification, I need to go back to school in this new country because I don't know anyone or whatever reason. So it's a little bit of imposter syndrome there that is coming. The second one is that usually they see their network or they evaluate their network as poor. So they think that it's not enough. I mean, the people that they know, and they don't know how to start or how to expand their network. And they also think very little about themselves. Like, I don't know how to network. I don't know how to talk to people I don't know. So something like that. And if I can drop some sense there, like to help people, join professional networks, especially the women professional networks, because those are amazing places for you to get started. I mean, with knowing people, and upskilling, reskilling yourself as well. And the third one that I see is that I don't have the language fluency. So this is also a classic. So you want to be very fluent before you just try to find a job or try to find work itself. Oh no, I must study like three years and then be very fluent. And you don't need that. You just, you need to go and take action, and then you start building your confidence. So you'll never be prepared anyway, ever, So just take action and move on, just try. And I think it will work. At least one day it will work. Absolutely.
Absolutely, totally agree. Roberta, what do you think about women? Do you think the things that we are saying now are actually happening within the younger generations, or you think the younger generation of women, because of the work that we are doing now, are actually overcoming these challenges, in your opinion?
I think we are working on it, and I feel lucky already because years ago, women fought for this. So we are living this peacefully, I think also thanks to them. And I feel very grateful. But still, I think there are biases, gender biases. So I'm not going to say the name of the country, but we have a country in Europe that has the highest men professor. So women, I don't know, for some reason, are not good enough to be a professor. And this is very striking. When I got to know, I was very shocked. But as Fabiana was saying, we should take advantage of communities and talk to other people, people that have more experience, and share their experiences in order to face those biases when they happen. If I see or something that is not correct against a woman, I would let her know, like, hey, this is happening. Did you notice that this is happening? This is not okay. But from my experience, I've never had something like that happening. But again, because I'm a millennial, and I'm lucky that people before me fought for our rights.
Well, absolutely. I always say, I hope that also the journey that we are going through today with our projects and all the companies like Annie that are supporting us actually are having an impact with the new generations and the generation after. Yeah. The new generation coming after us, because it's a long journey. But as you say, it's important to fight, and at some point we will get there. We will get to the full, let's say, the right balance between men and women in leadership positions. But going back to our topic of today, which is obviously intergenerational context. Now, a question for the table, especially for the more senior people. How is important to, let's say, have this communication fluid? As we said, it's important to give feedback, it's important to build that trust relationship, it's important to focus on the talent and not the age, but it doesn't happen all the time. So what is your secret sauce to make sure this doesn't happen? Who wants to start? Marika?
I can break the ice here. One recommendation I give myself is always to remember how I was in that period of my time, of my career. When I talk to somebody and I listen, and I do my best to actively listen what is being said in a conversation, I always put a lot of effort to remember my past and my story and my journey to become what I am now. And I think it's part of empathy in a way, but it's much more than that, because you actually put yourself on the table. And for example, what I often do, and Anna knows because we have worked together, is to offer example of my life, to offer a little bit of myself, so that you can not only show that you really and truly understand what they mean, because you have lived exactly the same. And that also helps in building the trust we were talking earlier.
Thank you. That's a very valuable feedback. Thank you. Anyone else wants to add on this? What's your secret sauce to focus on talent?
I can add something. To me, when I'm teaching or coaching someone to do a job I'm delegating, tasks, or teaching really someone to do a job, I have to be like completely fearless of losing my job. And I usually, when I had a corporate career, I was focusing on that. I was like, okay, I'm not afraid that person may one day take over my place, because that will mean I will be promoted. So that was my focus, actually.
Absolutely. For me, it's always been, as an entrepreneur, in my case, always been, I have to make sure I can, let's say, lead a team of people who are even better than me at doing something. Otherwise, I will always be not, let's say, I can't move on. At some points, I can't be in any conversation, in any call, in any project. My team needs to be in charge, empowered, and even better than me. And I would be very happy to see my company grow and being able to actually hire people better than me and doing things. I think it's a very satisfactory thing. Managers tend to keep that kind of fear sometimes, but if you think about it, it will just give you the space to build more things yourself.
If I may add something about Marika's approach, since I've been through it myself, I just want to confirm that this type of approach is actually calming. Because if you receive a feedback and a comment from your manager without a clear explanation, without a clear example, that could be actually very frustrating. So I think that the approach that Marika is following is actually, it works. Because when you have a real example from someone who is successful, someone who has made it, you say, okay, even if I'm feeling down in that moment, even if it's not okay, I'm going to be good. It's going to work. So I just wanted to add this.
Yeah, I wanted to add something as well. That's why I think it's very important also to engage in conversations with very successful people that are not your boss, because you can have a different perspective, and that's very important, because not only your boss is successful, but also other people. So it's important to have an open mind about this kind of things.
Yes, mentoring and sponsoring are always two different things. We always highlight that. People tend to kind of mix them up, but actually one thing is your sponsor, which is still going to be very important for your career, but having a mentor or someone outside your, let's say, line of management can be really helpful and useful. Absolutely. I would recommend people doing it. And actually, I would recommend even doing reverse mentoring. This is for another conversation to have, but we've seen very valuable when the mentoring is reversed. So it's the younger generation that actually gives feedback and helps the senior people to maybe better understand, again, the digital revolution, some digital tools. So there is still also that learning part that can be within the senior management space as well. And we tried that within the community, the reverse mentoring we launched this year, and it's a really nice thing to see. It's still not very common, but I would recommend people doing it.
it's actually very cool, because while you were talking about it, I was thinking that as students, we organize talks or small conferences about topics like inclusivity, etc. We invite managers and principal investigators to attend. So I think that could be an example of reverse mentoring. That's very cool.
Absolutely. It's very, very nice thing. And I would recommend who is listening to us can try. Marika, do you want to add anything on this? And then I will go on to the very last question for you.
No, I 100% agree. And it's actually very inspiring, this the comment you made. So thank you very much for putting it forward.
All right, so I think we lost Hannah, but because she's in a complicated country talking about intercultural and global roles, so she might have lost internet, but we had her and that's been amazing. So my last question for you is always the same to all our speakers, which is a message that you want to leave to our audience on the topic that we discussed today, or can be a book that for you has been inspiring and that you want to recommend on this topic.
I go for the message. My message is enjoy your time, enjoy your job, enjoy your journey. And during that journey, just learn as much as you can, because you actually will gain the tools you need when responsibility will come. And trust me, responsibility will come. It's not a book, but it's a poetry. It's called Ithaca. It's by a Greek poet. I don't remember the name, but I will post, I promise. And it's about the trip that Ulysses did to go back to Ithaca. And the key message for the poetry is that it's not your target should not only to reach Ithaca, but to get and to remember all the things you have learned during your journey. That is the things that will make you a better person.
Nice. Roberta.
Mine is very short. I would say don't compete to other people. Don't compare yourself to other people. Just live your journey and compete only with one person, yourself.
Very nice. Fabiana?
My message here is to focus on collaboration and be prepared to learn and to unlearn on your path, because this is equally important, to unlearn things. And the book that is very inspiring, I mean, to me, I think it inspires creativity, actually, is still like an artist.
Okay, still like an artist.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hannah, a book or a message for our audience last today?
A message to summarize everything we said so far. Well, it's to everyone. Remember that it's not that the age that matters, but the abilities and the way that we communicate.
Thank you very much. So we got to the end. Thank you very much indeed to all our speakers, and obviously to you who have been listening to us and who you will be still listening to us, because this live will be available on our YouTube channel and will be distributed across all our channels and newsletters in the upcoming days. So thank you all. If you want to connect with us, please text us and we'll put you in touch with our speakers. And thank you, Annie, as usual, for the support and the building of these amazing moments of cooperation and learning for all of us. Thank you. Have a great evening. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
In Italia le imprese guidate da donne, giusto per dare qualche dato, rappresentano il 22% del totale.
Fare impresa è funzionale alla tua vocazione e alla tua missione. Crei un'impresa o usi la tua impresa per risolvere il problema che tu hai a cuore.
Credo che arrivi un momento in cui ti scatta quella scintilla, no? Quel desiderio di mettere in gioco tutto te stesso e scoprire anche delle cose che magari non pensavi di saper fare.
Sono stata aiutata a cambiare la visuale da cosa volessi fare a chi volessi essere come persona, come manager, quindi anche come volessi interpretare il ruolo, che stile di leadership volessi adottare.
E soprattutto alle prossime generazioni, la generazione Z e la generazione Alpha, che mettono al loro centro questa storia di impatto e anche purpose.
Non è che domani dobbiamo svegliarci tutti imprenditori, tutti freelance, però domani dobbiamo svegliarci tutti felici. Più siamo felici, più siamo produttivi. Più siamo produttivi, meglio lavoriamo, più siamo apprezzati e quindi più riusciremo a essere felici.